Tonight on NewsVision, the University of Miami School of Architecture has lost an influential professor. We will show you how he is being honored.
That through us and through all his students, that we could keep his legacy going.
Plus, we will introduce you to one South Florida athlete who is proving that no injury can stop him.
I will be world champion. I will be an Ironman. I will be the best.
And later on, Canes football is back for the spring game. These stories and a lot more on tonight's episode of NewsVision. It starts right now.
Good evening and welcome to this week's edition of NewsVision. I'm Manny Nacarado.
And I'm Regina Potenza. Thank you for joining us. The University of Miami community is mourning the loss of renowned architect and esteemed professor Teofilo Victoria, who passed away last week. Professor Victoria taught at UM in various roles since 1986. His close friend and colleague Oscar Carrera has stepped in to take over Victoria's classes. Carrera says Victoria, who often led summer trips abroad and made unique connections with each student, will be missed dearly.
I think that the future generations are going to miss, of students are going to miss the one-on-one interaction that with him that we all enjoyed and we all learned from. But hopefully that through us and through all his students, that we could keep his legacy going.
The university held a ceremony asking friends and students to write letters to Professor Victoria's family. He served UM in different roles during his tenure, including Architect Associate Professor, along with undergraduate and graduate program director. Professor Victoria was 70 years old.
Former Florida Governor and U.S. Senator Bob Graham, known for his commitment to public service, died on Tuesday. Graham dedicated his life to public service as he represented Florida for almost 4 decades. He worked in nearly every branch of government throughout his 10-year career, starting in the Senate legislature, graduating to the governorship, and ending up in the U.S. Senate. Graham is most known for co-chairing the congressional investigation into the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center in 2001. He was 87 years old.
When times are tough, music is often a go-to outlet for people to help soothe, calm, and make them feel better. Shay McDonald is here in studio with a story about volunteers who use music to help others heal. Shay?
People say music can heal the soul, and it often has the ability to make a day better even when things might be tough. I got a chance to talk with some volunteer musicians who use music to make a hospital stay a whole lot better.
For Miami artist Bryant Del Toro, play music is not just a hobby and way to pass the time, it's also a way to heal the soul.
The reason that we focus on music is because of the studies that have shown how music helps with the emotional and mental toll that being in a hospital and being sick can take on a person.
Bryant's part of a group called Musicians on Call, whose members volunteer to play music for sick people in hospitals across America. The group offers streaming and virtual concerts for patients as well as in-person performances right at people's bedside. And for the past quarter century, they've spread one message.
You're just trying to bring a little hope, a little joy, a little emotional healing to a patient's day.
Studies show that music can indeed have positive effects on people's brains that help ease symptoms of various diseases. And while music doesn't have the power to completely cure, Bryant's seen firsthand to give patients the strength to fight back.
And I've seen somebody with Parkinson's stop shaking. I've seen families find a little glimmer of joy. I've seen people with Alzheimer's remember the lyrics to a song who were nonverbal just moments before.
And those concerts not only affect the patients, but the volunteers as well.
It's made me a better person. It's made me more sympathetic. It's made me more understanding. It's matured me in an emotional sense. Musicians on Call has done more for me than I think I've been able to do for the program in the last 13, 14 years.
All right, 'cause I'm yours.
Musicians on Call is expanding their programs in Miami and is looking for volunteer performers and guides to continue their mission to help people heal through music. For UMTV, I'm Shay McDonald.
Thank you, Shay. And here on campus, one UM student organization has come together to make cards for hospitalized children. For most students, the University of Miami's American Red Cross organization is a good way to get involved in the medical and philanthropic community. It has been helping the South Florida community since 2021 by going to homeless shelters, organizing blood drives, and writing cards for children undergoing medical treatments in hospitals.
They're sent to kids of all different kinds of experiences, whether that's being in the hospital for a few days for a scary procedure, or somebody who's been in the hospital for their whole life and just supposed to provide people with a sense of relief in some way, just a little reminder that people are thinking of them.
The Red Cross organization teams up with Letters of Love, which is a nonprofit organization that sends letters to children's hospitals nationwide.
Another UM organization is hosting an art exhibit on campus that brings creativity and culture into one place. Lead reporter Billy Brightman is live outside the Lakeside Expo Center campus where this art installation is being displayed. Billy, what's happening there?
A UM student organization called Black Creatives Collective partnered with production company World of Phoenix to bring all expressions of creativity to one place. The exhibit is called Exusions, a play on words that means they care deeply about the stories that are going to be shared by their featured artists tonight. It started at 6 p.m. with a music and cocktail hour featuring performances to get everybody ready for the main event. Speaking of which, I'm outside right now because the main event started previously at 7 p.m., and that is the art exhibit. The art viewing shows 8 artists from the University of Miami and the local Miami area with roots from all over the world, and they are bringing art in all mediums. Kayan Henry is presenting a photographic series that she says aims to embody the spirit of Caribbean magic and a being that doesn't conform to society's standards. Nyasha Nyoni is presenting a short film that is a visual representation of her evolving identity and what it means to be who she is. These are just 2 examples of the amazing artists and stories that are going to be shared tonight, and while the main viewing is going on right now, the event itself will go until 9 p.m., so you have plenty of time to come check it out. Live outside the Lakeside Expo Center, Billy Brightman, UMTV.
Thank you, Billy. And another exhibition on campus brings together art and science. The Climate Change Expo is showcasing a grim reality about the state of our oceans. The Low Art Museum held a coral reef restoration exhibit last night. It featured glass models of coral bleaching and encouraged attendees to take a closer look. Some UM professors spoke about local restoration projects led by the university to heal coral reefs. The expo gave scientists a new way to get their research seen by presenting climate change in a visual way.
Objects out of the water up here for us to see and explore and understand and study and make a connection between what's under the water and what's above the water.
The Low plans a new glass-blown exhibit soon, and students that double major in art and science are encouraged to submit their research to be turned into art, similar to the climate exhibit. And Regina, I think that's really awesome that students are able to turn their research into a piece of art.
What a unique way to do it, and especially bring awareness about the oceans. Well, speaking of ocean, it is time to check in with Quinn Davidson on the weather forecast for this week.
Quinn, is it getting warmer or is it just me?
Manny, I swear you are not going crazy. Temperatures have been on the increase the past few days. And right now across South Florida, who isn't 79 degrees? That is Fort Lauderdale there at 81 degrees. Everyone else sitting at 79, very comfortable for this time of year. Although our temperatures are climbing, the average for this time of year is 84, but Monday we should be approaching the 90s. 88 degrees is our forecast high, and this is the same day as Earth Day. So I know UM has a lot of campus events happening on Earth Day. We'll have near record heat. The record high temperature is 91 back in 1905. It'll be nice and steamy as we have some humidity increasing. And I know it's not just me, it's been very dry here across South Florida. In April, we've only had just less than half an inch, 0.45 inches of rainfall. That is just 1.26 inches below average for this time of year. So any rain in the forecast, the closest we'll get is next Wednesday, unfortunately remaining very dry for the next 7 days. Back to you.
Thank you, Quinn. And Miami is not the only place feeling the heat. Australia is also suffering from severe heat waves that are causing some damage. According to Australia's Reef Authority, the Great Barrier Reef have suffered its highest heat stress on record. Experts call it one of the most serious and extensive coral bleach records in recorded history, but it's too soon to tell the full impact. In the meantime, scientists are using a new type of drone and artificial intelligence to determine the extent of the reef damage caused by climate change.
Introduce you to one Florida resident who is breaking barriers and proving that an injury cannot stop him from making an impact. Stay with us.
I like to eat apples and bananas. I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Florida now has a new law limiting the number of banned school books that residents are allowed to challenge. Starting on July 1st, people without children in a school district can only file one complaint per month. Republican Governor Ron DeSantis signed this bill into law on Tuesday in Jacksonville, where he has said some school districts may have gone too far in removing some titles.
Are taking the curriculum transparency and they're trying to weaponize that.
The new law does not include a penalty. It also does not limit the number of challenges a parent with a child in a school can file. In a new report, literary and free expression advocacy group called PEN America reported more than 4,300 instances of banned books in 23 states from July to December of 2023.
Columbia University is under fire for anti-Semitism on campus. University leaders testified to a House committee yesterday in regards to the school's response against hate on campus towards Jewish students. Taryn Jacobs joins us now with more. Taryn?
Today, New York police arrested more than 100 pro-Palestinian protesters at Columbia University. Pro-Palestinian students, faculty, and others set up tents, signs, and a rally. Many of the protesters camped out overnight. Officers used bullhorns Thursday to tell protesters to leave or face arrest. The protest began yesterday during the university's president testimony on the Hill. Columbia University's president and board co-chairs testified on Capitol Hill on Wednesday. The hearing was about the university's response to anti-Semitism incidents on campus. Testimony on that topic is why both the Harvard and UPenn presidents resigned last year.
Does calling for the genocide of Jews violate Harvard's rules of bullying and harassment, yes or no?
It can be, depending on the context.
Specifically calling for the genocide of Jews, does that constitute bullying or harassment?
If it is directed and severe or pervasive, it is harassment.
The University of Southern California is also under scrutiny this week. It says that its pro-Palestinian valedictorian cannot deliver the graduation speech because of security concerns.
I stand by human rights, and I continue to. That's not something I'm going to apologize for.
A report out this week from the Anti-Defamation League shows record numbers of anti-Semitic incidents across the country last year. It says incidents skyrocketed after Hamas attacked Israel on October 7th.
We have never, ever seen anything like this.
The Council on American Islamic Relations says Islamophobia also has been on the rise since October.
We've seen a spike of almost 3 to 4 times the number of incidents, hate incidents.
Taryn Jacobs, UMTV.
This past week, Dubai was flooded with the heaviest recorded rainfall in the country's history.
The airport and many school districts were closed due to the flooding, and much of the United Arab Emirates is still out of commission while the water drains.
Quinn Davidson is here to update us on the situation.
Quinn, what's going on?
You guys, some crazy videos coming out of Dubai, this insane flooding. We had so much rainfall in the country that was a year's worth of rain falling in just one day. It was the most they've seen since records began in 1949. What we know now is at least 21 people have been killed in the floods, and this was an insane precipitation event as it just kept pouring and flooding the neighboring regions. We saw many different flood zones with cars and tarmacs on the plains. They had lots of rainfall in just a 24-hour period, and this is something interesting because Dubai has been experimenting in the past few decades with cloud seeding. And what cloud seeding is basically pumps moisture into clouds, and that creates enough moisture for rain to fall. There is no direct link right now if whether or not cloud seeding was connected to this event, but it is something that they are going to continue to study in the next coming weeks.
Thank you, Quinn. Florida has the highest annual average of motorcycle accidents in the country, according to the National Safety Council. In 2022, almost 670 people died in the Sunshine State after being involved in a motorcycle accident. But one young Miami native actually credits such an event with saving his life.
Every single thing that I went through was on purpose.
The year after 21-year-old John Marquez graduated high school, he was bartending on Miami Beach, living with friends, and partying every night. His life turned into what some might have called a nightmare when he was in a motorcycle accident in February 2023 that left him paralyzed from the chest down.
Everything that I'm doing now is pretty much new to me. I feel like everybody saw it as something much bigger than I did. I've never shed a tear from the day of my accident, like never. And to see everybody like so emotional about it, I was like lost because I didn't understand it at all.
While John was in recovery, he came to the realization that his injury may have been an opportunity to change his life.
My entire life was money and girls. That was it. I would do nothing all day. I would just kind of like chill and like watch movies, whatever. And then right before I fell asleep, I hated my life, like hated it. And when I woke up in the ambulance, I was like, okay, like something's gonna change.
A few weeks after the accident, John found a new purpose in life, training for para-triathlons with the ultimate goal of making Team USA.
He's been like that since he was young. He liked to do things he couldn't do. He liked to do things that were challenging, you know? And he loves like finishing.
With the help of his doctors and physical therapists, John has been training up to 7 days a week to prepare for his para-triathlon.
A lot of times in that situation, people are asking me really big questions. When am I going to walk again? Is my life over? You know, how am I going to participate in society? And John was more just like, how do I get back at it? And that was there from day one. I saw it.
John has now been training for para-triathlons for just under a year. On April 14th, John had one final chance to qualify for the National Para-Triathlon Championship by swimming a mile in the ocean, biking 12.5 miles, and wheelchair racing 3 miles in record time.
Like I was born to win. I wasn't born, like I don't train so that I can compete. I train to win. So my goal, I guess, is like exactly that, to win, to be world champ. I don't know who you are, but I'm coming after your spot. I will be world champion. I will be an Ironman. I will be the best.
After about a year of training, last Sunday, John qualified for the USA Para-Triathlon National Championship. In Wisconsin on June 23rd, John will compete against the best para-athletes in the country for a chance to take home the national title.
And still ahead on NewsVision, the women's basketball team here in Coral Gables brought in a few familiar faces for the 2024-25 season. Find out who they are when we return.
For decades, I've taught you everything I know. How to safely build a fire. How to control the flames. What to do with hot coals. How to secure your chains.
There's no sparks.
But I can only teach wildfire prevention. Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hello and welcome to sports. I'm Andrew Klein. The NBA play-in tournament tipped off this week, and the Miami Heat were in Philly last night with a chance to clinch the number 7 seed in the Eastern Conference. Let's head over to Philly to see if they could get it done. The Heat and the Sixers, the winner will play the New York Knicks in the first round, and it was Jimmy Butler establishing himself early, picks off Joel Embiid, goes all the way for the slam. Butler with 19 for the Heat, but a scary moment here. Long pass from Kevin Love, Butler gets fouled, he goes down and grabs that right knee. He left the game but would return, Heat officials calling it an MCL injury. Let's jump to the fourth quarter. Joel Embiid with the Sixers down 3. He says we're tied. Few possessions later, fourth quarter, this is why Batum's in. He knocks it down. 20 for Nick off the bench. A miss from Tyrese Maxey. Whoop, look at that finish from Batum that time. It's a very close game still. Miami battling, but Joel Embiid says, I'm just too strong for these little boys. It's my time. The Sixers taking over. Inside, it's Kelly Oubre. The layup is good. And one finish for Oubre. Sixers by 3. Final chance for Miami, the Heat from Hero no good, and the 76ers are moving on. They'll take on the New York Knicks on Saturday night. And sticking with basketball here in Miami, the women's basketball team just got some great news yesterday and some better news today. The Cavender twins announced they're both coming back to Coral Gables, with Hannah making her official announcement yesterday and Haley making hers today. In a statement Haley released on Instagram, it says, given the news yesterday that my sister was returning to play ball at Miami, and after careful consideration, I have decided to return to the University of Miami and play with Hannah for our final year. There is nothing more important than family and the bond I share with my twin sister. Haley led the Hurricanes in scoring in the 2022-23 season and helped the program to the first Elite 8 in program history. And finally, while most Hurricanes fans usually watch baseball in the springtime, some had a chance to see a football game this past weekend. Manny Nacarado had a chance to check out the Canes' annual spring game.
The Canes football team strapped on their pads for the annual spring game at Cobb Stadium, and this game gave fans an opportunity to see some new players on the field.
Well, specifically Cam Ward, and I'm excited to see our new freshman class of 2024. I've heard a lot of good things, and that this recruitment class was really, really good.
And as for the players, this was the first time the team got to play as a unit in front of fans and display how the team is improving over the offseason.
I felt good, especially knowing the work that we put in the last 14 practices. But, you know, it's a good thing that spring ball's over, so now we can start to come more together as a team. With the new guys coming in, you know, just come August 31st, we'll be ready for that challenge.
And as the fall season inches closer, many fans can't wait to get back to Hard Rock. And for some, this spring game was a preview for the games to come.
As a fan, I can't wait because this is actually my first ever game as a student. So even if it's a spring game, I'm excited to just be a Canes fan as a Canes student, and get to live that with all of the alumni that I know as well, and all of my student friends that are excited about the football season.
And as the fall approaches, fans and the team are excited to kick off the 2024 football season on August 31st against in-state rival the Florida Gators.
That was my co-anchor Manny Nacarado reporting. Now it's time for another short break, but still ahead, we'll introduce to you one group of women who are helping serve the joy of their sport. NewsVision will be right back.
If you're an ally of this community, speak out. There are more of us together than apart, and so they need to stand with them.
If you've been to your local park or rec center anytime over the past couple of years, chances are you've noticed that a sport that looks a lot like tennis, but with a smaller court, paddle, and a different ball. It's called Pickle Ball. Ethan Gainey had the opportunity to play with one group of women who noticed a problem with the sport and wanted to address it.
It's just addictive. It's like once you start playing pickleball, you don't want to stop.
It's America's fastest growing sport, according to a report by the Sports and Fitness Industry Association. But that same report from early 2023 also says that 73% of pickleball players are white, compared to just 7% black.
I didn't really hear other black and brown women talking about this particular sport or going out to play, etc., until this group.
The group Melanie's referring to is Pickleball and Lifestyle Club. Meet its 4 founders, Aisha, Lauren, Stephanie, and Sunja.
We're 4 moms, we're 4 wives, we're 4 business owners, and as a collective, we're really rocking this thing out.
We realized that we, as brown and black women, were not seen on the court. So I think it was an initiative that we all wanted to make sure that we were bringing health and awareness and pickleball to our friends, our community.
And since its inception this past summer, pickleballin' has successfully done just that. With clubs in Miami and Atlanta, they've expanded quickly.
We started with the group chat of 6 people. We now have 173 people in our group chats.
So the obvious reason they started the club was to introduce black and brown women to a fun way to stay active and healthy. But it's become so much more.
We try to keep everybody social and just kind of build community by hosting happy hours, brunches, visits to the spa.
And as they grew, they began to build a brand. They partnered with notable sponsors like Venus Williams skincare line, and they created a logo and merchandise.
We got a logo because we wanted to be legitimate. We weren't even really thinking merchandise necessarily.
Polos with our logo, offering visors with our logo, and even our first paddle launch.
This is one of Pickleballin's new paddles. It's their champion paddle. It's got some grit to it so it can allow for spin. Plus, if you hit the ball right in the P, that's your sweet spot where you'll get the most power.
But beyond stylish merch and paddles, the real strength of this group lies in the sense of belonging and empowerment they've cultivated. Something they're proud to share with their kids and husbands, who started to join the group that was once just the women.
I think the whole idea of just keep building the community and that our children see that reflection of what their moms or dads are doing, within the community, so that they become, active and healthy.
Now their goal is to keep expanding to other cities so that other women of color can have this same opportunity to stay active and make lasting connections.
We want you to find a space where you feel like you belong and you can grow, and that's our goal. We want to grow, but we don't want to grow alone. We want to grow with our group.
And I'm very grateful that they started it, because I know for sure I would not be out here. And it's amazing to see all the other, women that look like me out here.
In Miami, Florida, Ethan Gainey, UMTV.
And finally, we have a lot of flowers here on campus year-round, but earlier this week, some unique flowers bloomed on the lakeside patio. That's where Hurricane Productions hosted the Lego Garden, an event where boxes of Legos, food, and even funnel cakes were given out. This event also featured a competition, with the grand prize being a Lego set based on Van Gogh's painting Starry Night. I feel like I could probably put together a Lego painting on Starry Night.
Yeah, I used to play with Legos when I was a kid, but I don't know. I don't think I can create a Van Gogh work of art just like that.
Well, it's got to be like 1,000 pieces or something crazy like that.
I used to build these Star Wars Lego sets, like the Millennium Falcon. I still have it in my room. I built it when I was a kid.
Oh, how long did that take you?
Well, that took me a couple days. It was a while.
Definitely would have taken a while, but that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us on NewsVision.
We'll be right back for our final show of the semester next week, an hour-long special beginning at 6:30. Have a good night.